Hi, I'm Michelle Brain and I am the Midwife Hypnotist, and welcome. Today I wanted to go over lots of questions that I've been asked over the last 6 or 8 weeks, and I thought we'd just get them all done together because there's been a lot of questions that were very similar, so I thought today is the day. So if you're half interested in birthing in trance, or you're just wondering what it is and why it's different, then sit down for the next 15 minutes and catch up. So welcome everybody, and check out my website michellebrain.com or birthingintrance.com if you want to follow up on this. But let's start it off. So what is birthing in trance? Birthing in trance is about you trusting your body. It's not hypnobirthing. I absolutely would love it if you did hypnobirthing. However, the reason I've set this course up is a lot of people don't do hypnobirthing. They find it too expensive, too long, their partners won't do it. But also they get so caught up in the hypnobirthing that they actually never go into trance. And they miss that part of it. For some reason, it's the part that they didn't realize was so important. And, recently I spoke to a girl and she did her hypnobirthing for her first baby. She went back and she did a refresher for her second baby. And she was still so lost. And so I worked with her and sent her a few videos. And, she had that baby and she sent me a beautiful photo just after it was born. And she did it her way. She had an absolutely beautiful birth. But she did say to me that the breathing that I taught her and the trance is what made the difference. It was because she said it came naturally to her. After she did all that, it just all come together. So it's not hypnobirthing. I believe that it's the extra mile. So if you've done hypnobirthing, this is just that extra bit. We focus more on that trance. And I think that's really important. So if you haven't done hypnobirthing, it doesn't matter, because I believe after birthing 13 children, I have birthed 13 of my own children, all naturally, not a stitch, without the intervention that's going on now. And I believe that going into trance is the natural way to birth. And in fact, that women do it naturally if they're left to their own devices. And the reason they're not going into trance is because of the intervention that's going on, and because we're taking away the confidence that women have had to birth, because they know that birthing is natural. So by taking away that empowerment, by questioning them, by telling them that their body's not going to do this, they just don't go into a natural trance. They go into a trance of fear instead. So this is about showing you how to go into a positive trance. You don't need a script from me to take in to the birth suite with you. What I give you goes into your unconscious mind. And when you walk in to have your baby, all you need is what's in here already. I don't need you to take a script to read. I don't need you to take a recording to listen to. The idea is to put all this in here so that when you go into birth, you just close your eyes and just do it. You just know. And you can sink into this place where nobody else is there. You're in this bubble. It's such a beautiful place to go. And I know when I'm birthing, I have no idea what is going on around me. I've had 9 children at my birth. And I remember opening my eyes and laughing and talking to the kids, and then just drop straight back into that bubble. So this is what birthing in trance is all about. I've also been asked about the terminologies because women have found that birthing in trance or some other courses, birthing under hypnosis or hypnobirthing is the terminology is a little bit difficult, or their husband's get a bit bored with it. It's a bit long. So this birthing with trance I've tried to keep it to 15-minute videos. The trances are just something you put in your ear when you go to bed. So it's not something that you have to sit there in front of the computer and listen to. You can just simply put them on your phone, put them in your ears, go to sleep. And if you fall asleep, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's still going into the back of your mind. So it's not something that's going to take up lots of time. Your husband or partner can watch them whenever they want. It's like, look, can you just watch this one? It's 10 minutes. That's the only one. I've done all the rest. You just watch this 10-minute one so that you understand when we go into the birth suite that you can simply and easily touch my shoulder and I will drop into trance. Pretty easy. So we've kept the terminology simple. I've done that deliberately because it's about you. It's not about me. I'm the midwife and birthing is about you. So you need to have it in your terms. So the other question that is how do people go into trance, or how do that, how do you achieve a trance? Well, everybody goes into trance. You can be driving down the road and you drift off and start thinking about something else. You're daydreaming. That's trance. The thing is, with birthing, I want you to drift off and think about beautiful things. Now, often it's the ocean and maybe dolphins coming. You're daydreaming. You believe that you're floating on the water and nothing bothers you and nothing worries you. It's a place and it's your place. And whatever your place is, it'll be yours. Mine personally is the ocean and floating over, and it's your place. It will come from you. I will give you some examples and your mind will turn it into the way that it wants. So, if I said to you, just place yourself on the water in an ocean somewhere and just float over the swells, you might be sitting in a dam. You might be laying, on a waterbed. It will be what it is for you. And so it's your trance. So it's not me telling you that, you need to sit there and listen to the words that I say and imagine everything that I imagine. I'm just encouraging you to daydream. So that's, the terminologies we've got. The components of birthing in trance are very simple. I start from the beginning, an introduction. I introduce you to trance. I then go through lots of things during your pregnancy, morning sickness, having blood tests taken, perhaps having VEs or whatever needs to go on. And so I'll have little trances for those so that you just know that if you have to have blood taken and you don't like the idea of it, you can sit in the chair, you can just think about the things that I've spoken about, put yourself in a trance, and then they'll say, oh, you're finished now, and you won't even know they've taken the blood most of the time. So we go over lots of different areas, including breathing up, breathing down, birthing your baby as your baby's head's crowning, your placenta. So lots of things. We don't cover the hormones and the process of birth like hypnobirthing, because once again, like I said, I would like you to do hypnobirthing. I can teach hypnobirthing. I'm accredited by Catherine Grays, but this course is because I want to make a difference to every woman, and not every woman can afford hypnobirthing. So that's the reason. And also, like I say, people have done hypnobirthing and still come to me and use this course and said it made all the difference. They just didn't get the trance bit. It was just that little bit that they understood the process, they got the whole lot, but they didn't go into trance. Now, and with the course also comes a backup, that if you're feeling like, oh, the recordings just aren't doing it, then you get me. So I'm here, we can have a session, we can talk, we can, go in and out of trance and let you feel it and understand it. And, I won't be happy unless I know you're confident in doing what you need to do. And like I say, with birthing women, in childbirth, that women that come into the birth suite have never done any antenatal classes, haven't done hypnobirthing, haven't done birthing in trance, haven't done nothing. They walk in, they're out of control, they're scared, they're frightened, give me pain relief. And then I ask them if I can help them. I ask for their permission, and within 30 seconds, I have them in a beautiful trance. And their partners and birthing partners cannot believe it. And time after time after time, they come to me and go, my God, how did you do that? How? And it's just taking those breaths, and they're already in that negative trance, and I've just turned the trance around. They're highly suggestible, and I was lucky that them being highly suggestible, they saw me first. Instead of a doctor coming in saying, oh, look, you're not coping, you're better off just having an epidural now and let's get this thing happening. and then go, yes, yes, yes. Well, no, 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 no. Let's just take him into that trance. So now, what is the difference? This is another one of the questions I've been asked. What's the difference between birthing in trance and hypnobirthing? Well, hypnobirthing is so comprehensive. It's about your body. It's about the hormones. It's about the process of birth. It does have some trances or some hypnosis. There's scripts, and your husband should be reading these scripts to you, or you can record them. But like I say, the birthing in trance is in little chunks, and there's recordings for you to listen to just when you go to bed. Hypnobirthing, you might like to take the trances into the birth suite with you. With birthing in trance, you don't need to. We've put them into your subconscious. So when you go to birth, it's in here. It's innate. It's part of you. And yes, you can do it because this is natural to women who birth. It's not natural once the intervention starts and you have people who don't believe in you, who don't trust your body, and who tell you so. And that's why women have stopped going into trance. And I see this all the time as well. I have women that come in that do trust their bodies. I have women that come in that I don't need to say a word to. They've walked in, they've got their eyes closed, they're breathing, they might have a TENS machine on. I don't need to say anything. I will do their obs and I step out of their way. And if they want me, they will open their eyes and they will ask. They will birth their babies their way, in their bubble, without any intervention, simply going into their own trance. So women who birth naturally do that naturally. And if you want a natural birth, if you don't want that emergency C-section that is going to be caused by the intervention, then you need birthing in trance. Okay, what other things can the trance be capable of? Okay, so with morning sickness, I had a girl here recently who was having horrendous morning sickness. It was her third baby, and really wasn't coping at all with 2 toddlers. And I sat her down, and within, I guess, probably 5 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes, I just did some breathing, and she was at that stage where she was just couldn't stop from dry reaching. And so I put her into a trance. She opened her eyes. She was actually able to function. And I said to her, next time, when it just starts, this build up, put yourself into your trance, take your breathing, and just tell your body you don't need it. You don't need the morning sickness. What is it that you do need? Ask your body, ask your baby, what is it that I'm lacking? What do I need to do? And your unconscious will come up with the answer. But she couldn't believe how well she felt. And I've done this quite often. I've actually done it for people with hangovers, and they've been able to get up and function and let go of the hangover too. So it does work. It's amazing. So that's another area. Having blood taken, and having VEs. When people have VEs, you have completely different responses. You have people who lay there and feel nothing, don't, just let the VE happen, a vaginal examination. So they're checking to see if you're dilated or what's going on in there. But other women scream and they're so tense. Their body is so tense. Well, if your body and your muscles are tense and somebody's trying to put their fingers into your vagina and feel your baby's head and you're pulling back, of course it's going to be painful. So you can simply ask for a few moments. Just say you're going to put yourself into a relaxed, comfortable trance, and you'll nod your head when you're right to have that vaginal examination. And you will find that it will be, whether it's uncomfortable, it won't be painful, because you'll know what's going on and you'll think, goodness me, but you'll be comfortable and you'll just let your body relax and let your muscles relax. And that'll make it a lot easier. So that's a few of the other things that you can do with the trances, as well as that bubble, surrounding yourself with that bubble of positivity. So what that means is that when all these negative things come in, like, your midwife might say, oh, the baby's not in the right position. Well, what is the right position? It's your baby. It's your body. It's in the right position for you. And it's niggling to get into its position. And often those niggles people call labour. Oh, I laboured for 4 days. No, you didn't. But you might have fought your baby going into that position because you just didn't allow it to happen. You were tense, you were worried, and your baby's trying as hard as it can to get to where it wants to go. But you're so tense because you believe that you're in labour instead of just letting it go, letting it do what it needs to do. So this is the different ways that trances can work with you. Now, the trances that I send you, there's 13 different trances that I send you, your partners can listen to them. By all means, put them in their ears overnight. If they're happy to listen to them, they will gain what they get out of it. Now, I actually did this for my partner, and I said to him, could you just listen to this and just tell me what you see and what you do? And he said it was amazing. And he explained to me, and I can't quite remember the daydream, but that he was doing something completely different from birthing. He said, even though the words were saying it, he said, I was imagining something else. So it took him on a different journey. So it will do what it does for you because it's your unconscious mind. I don't have your unconscious mind. So it will work your way. Okay, what other questions do we have here? From a layperson's perspective, so from the woman who's birthing's perspective, this is about teaching you how to trust yourself. And I think I've covered that pretty well so far. From a midwife's perspective, this is something that I see a lot of midwives do. They don't realise. I would say there's more midwives that don't do it than do it. But I work in hospitals, and on a given day there might be 6, there might be 10 midwives, and out of all those, I'll always find 1 or 2 that have the same ideas that I have, and often we call tree huggers, but it's just allowing the woman to go into her own trance. And so midwives can learn so much from this course. It's really, and I would love to do one-on-ones. If you're a midwife and you want to do this course, do the course and then come into the Facebook page. I will make sure that you have everything you need to walk into a birth suite and make a difference to that woman in 30 seconds. I guarantee you, I will do everything that I possibly can to know that when you walk into that birth suite, you can do exactly what I can do. And that is put a woman into a trance in 30 seconds, take her out of a negative trance, put her into a wonderful, comfortable, empowered trance where she takes control. And then show you how to show the partners how to take over so that you can step back. Because as a midwife, it's not our role. We're there to watch and to help and to guide if they need it. And most often, the women that I see and the partners that step up take my place. I can step back. And occasionally, I'd probably end up stepping back up just before the baby's birthing because they're looking, the mums are looking for, I'm not sure what to do. Now, remember, these women haven't done birthing in trance, and most of them haven't done any antenatal classes either. So if you're a midwife, I guarantee you this will make a difference to your practice, to the way you help women. So now that was, I've actually been sent quite a lot of emails from other midwives going, well, you say you can do this in 30 minutes. Can you teach me? Definitely, absolutely. And I have taught student midwives how to do it who have come back to me and said, I've never seen that before. That's just amazing. One girl had had 5 babies of her own. She'd been a midwife for 2 years. She came into a birth that I attended, and I had used hypnobirthing, birthing in trance, and hypnobirthing actually, for this woman. She came in, she watched us, but she stepped back. She was very respectful. She watched this girl birth, and she said to me after the birth, I have never seen a natural birth before. She'd been working 2 years in a regional hospital on a birth suite, and she said that was the most empowering birth I have ever been a part of. So yes, I can teach you. It will make the difference, and I guarantee you that I'll work with you as much as I have to make the difference. I also do go into birth suites and do lectures for midwives the midwives that are interested in how to set anchors and that. So I have been doing that for a while, and I absolutely love it. Okay, so what's the next questions? How can this help me in the real world? I think once you've learnt to go into trance, it's something that you keep with you for anything, for anxiety, for depression, for children that I'll give you an example with kids, is you can set anchors with your kids so that as they grow up, and we know children often have that quiet time, whether they like to sit there and watch cartoons in the morning like my children used to, or whether it's in the afternoon, they get home from school, and want to sit quietly. So you anchor that feeling in them, that emotion, that quiet time. So to do that, you would go up and you would put your hand on their shoulder and say, "That's right," or "Mary Poppins," or something that you're not trying to get their attention. You would simply put a pressure on their shoulder and say a word. And we're linking the word with that pressure. So that you do that over and over and over again when they're in that state, that quiet state. And then you'll find, weeks later, that when the kids are a bit hyper and they're running around and it's quiet time now, guys, come on, we need, they're excited for whatever reason, that you can simply put your hand on their shoulder and press gently and say that word. And it'll bring them back to that quiet state. So there's so many tricks. And if you go to my YouTube site, I put them up all the time. There's so many things that you can use with your children, with your babies, with breastfeeding. My goodness, birthing in trance, the trance breastfeeding. I can breastfeed. I'm going to breastfeed. Oh, I'm going to try and breastfeed. Well, once you've done this course, you'll understand that I'm going to breastfeed. Now, if you don't want to breastfeed, that's fine. No worries at all. You do what's right for you. But if you want to breastfeed, simply changing your language, I'm going to breastfeed. And women come to me and talk about breastfeeding. And so, how are you going to breastfeed? Or, yes, I'm going to try. No, I am going to breastfeed. Try implies failure. So if you want to breastfeed, I am going to breastfeed. And that's going to be a whole new course, I hope, after birthing in trance. But put yourself into a trance, let your milk flow, let your baby do what your baby does, and just relax. So many different ways that we can use birthing in trance. Now, let me have a look what other questions we've got in the real world. So we've done that. I think we've covered most of them. So it really, birthing in trance, if I walked into our local hospital, it's a very big hospital, it's a training hospital, I believe just me going in there would save 5, 6, 10 cesareans a day. We have got so many women that are being induced for no good reason. And you're being induced, you already set off the intervention. There is so many questions to ask. And, even if it is because you're overdue and, you feel that you need that induction, there's so many questions to ask. There's so many different ways to do it. And all you need to know is trust your body. Like, okay, if I need an induction because, you feel that for you that's the right thing, you're 32 weeks or whatever, 42 weeks, and you think, actually, I think I need to do this, okay. But can they break your water? Do you need gel? Do you need to have that syntocin drip going? Do you need to have it turned up until your baby can't cope anymore? Or can we just leave it dripping? I hear this so often where the obstetricians or the doctors will walk in and go, "Oh, can you just get it going, turn it up?" And I've turned it off because the woman was contracting enough. She was already contracting 3 and 10. They were moderately strong. But their idea is, "Oh, look, turn it up, just get this baby out." But we're turning it up and these babies are getting distressed. You know, and I've often said I've turned it off, and the woman, yes, her contractions will slow down, but she continues to contract and does it her way. Her body will do it. And I've often said to register us when they've come in, and I've turned it off, or I've stopped turning it up, and they'll say to me, why is that not being turned up? You need to turn up. And I'll go, that's fine. You come in here and look after this woman, and you be responsible for the outcome. The consequences of turning that up is going to be a Caesar, because I can see already by looking at this CTG, the trace of the baby's heartbeat, that this baby does not like it when I turn it up. So I'm not happy to look after the woman if we continue to do that. And 9 times out of 10, they will say and walk out and get quite angry with me. But I work on the theory that this woman wanted a natural birth. She didn't want all this intervention. Why do we have to give her 120% of intervention? If we needed the induction for whatever reason, what do we have to go that way for? Let's just take it slow. Let's be gentle. Let's let her body have every opportunity to step up and take over. So there's so many questions. There's so many things. Get in. Can you really afford not to do hypnobirthing? Can you really afford not to do birthing in trance? Can you really afford not to take some sort of action? Because the consequences of you not could be an emergency Caesar, and more likely so if they're going to use intervention. So I think we've covered most of them. This birthing in trance is simple, it's easy, it's in little chunk size things. You can do 15 minutes. You could do it while you're at work during your smoko. Watch the video. Use the trance when you go home to bed. It doesn't matter if you fall asleep, it's still going in. It's for midwives. I've been teaching hypnotherapists for the last 5 years because hypnotherapists have their own areas of expertise, but often they have women come to them because they're scared of birth. So, I've been working with hypnotherapists for the last 5 years as well. So please think about the consequences and know that when you're already in the position and they're already inducing you and they're already having these epidurals, or it's too late unless you have a midwife next to you who understands how the mind works and can put their hand on their shoulder and ask you to just go and drop into a trance like I do. So if you're a midwife and you want to know more, call me, email me, whatever you want to do. I'll spend as much time as I have to let you know how this works. Do the course. If you still don't get it, and I know you will, let's do some extra work. And as mums as well. So please, I don't think women can afford not to do it. If you really want a natural birth, I believe being in trance is the only way that you're going to get it in this environment. So check out my website, michellebrain.com. Check out Birthing in Trance. And if you're still not quite sure, you've got questions, please contact me. I'm constantly talking to people. All these questions have all been answered one-to-one. I've worked with those women, but I just thought if somebody's asking them, I'm sure there's other people out there that have the same question. So check out my website, michellebrain.com.